Hey everybody, JJ here. Welcome back for another Saturday Zoom Networking. I have just an absolutely amazing young man on as our guest speaker today. He's out of Pace Morby Sub 2 community. He's one of the fast climbing rock stars in real estate investment. This young man, like the rest of us, started as a student, has become an entrepreneur, and has now become, in a very short time, a very successful investor. He's on podcasts, has his own podcast. You may have heard of him because he's very, very visible. I'd like to introduce my good friend, Mr. Adam Dupuis. Adam, how are you?
Like I said, JJ, just living the dream, just enjoying the weather here, and happy to be here with y'all on Saturday.
You know, first thing I want to start with is for those who don't know you, where in the country are you located?
I'm in New Orleans.
I want to get down there. I think we spoke about. I want to come down for Mardi Gras and just see all the history and all the music and all the beautiful countryside.
This is the time. October is where we get like probably the best weather. You can go outside, t-shirt, shorts, t-shirt, jeans, just chill out, have jazz brunch, listen to live music, eat some of the best food you've ever had.
I
You
bet.
won't you won't leave with a loose waistband, that's for sure.
There you go. There you go. Hey, I've just been watching you for months, brother. We met face to face at Squad Up Summit in Tampa, and I talk all the time about the community and networking. That only 10% of the community is visible, and if people aren't visible, they're invisible. And brother, you're visible. You're friggin' everywhere. You're posting. You've got interviews. You're interviewing people. I just got to give you a shout out for how well you're marketing yourself. I think you've done an outstanding job.
I appreciate it, man. And you brought this up off recording to Sunny, but I think one of the important things is just that you have to do it scared. I did it. I didn't do it because I wanted to do it. I didn't do it because I was like enthralled or just inspired to just stand up on a stage in front of a bunch of people. It's like, no, I did it and I did it scared, but then I got over it.
Yeah, it's not easy. What we do is not easy. I mean, I've done now, gosh, done over 300 Zoom calls, but I still struggle on what to say, what to ask. I don't have any script out there. I'm just me. Um, Hey, really quick, before you got started in real estate investment, what did you do beforehand? Was it something that was always exposed to you, or was it relatively new? Or
No, real estate's super new. I've been in small business since I was like 19. I'll be 32 here in about 3 weeks. So I've had my own LLC. I've been self-employed. I've done sales. I've been 1099. I've traveled. I've sold everything from low ticket to high ticket, door to door, cold calling, whatever. I've done a lot of different things. Right now I have a firewood delivery company that's here and we do like all the local, we do like cooking wood and bonfires and bagged woods for campgrounds and grocery stores and we do a lot of that stuff. I've been doing that for the last 5 years, but I've always been kind of on my own journey.
we've met through Sub 2, we're both Sub 2 students. We had met at the Squad Up Summit in Tampa. Um, how did you find out about Sub 2? How did you find out about PACE? How did you get into this program?
Yeah, so I got introduced to real estate about a year ago. I was asked to join on a marketing team for there's gonna be like an NFT token challenge, and that project never took off. So I was like kind of intrigued. I was like, I'm interested in real estate, but you know, I I don't really have a way in. And I listened to Dan Fleischman's podcast, The Money Mondays, and Pace had come on once or twice. Of course, we all joke, everybody in Pace's groups knows like once you're targeted, you're targeted. You start getting the ads. So I had gotten targeted for Gator, jumped on, said it's not quite for me. I got on a strategy call with Carlos Reyes's group, said it probably wasn't for me. Same thing with Cody Sanchez's group, wasn't for me. I got on the call with the director of enrollment for Sub 2, and I was like, all right, this is for me. I just need to make the money work. And they worked with me and they were like, yeah, we'll set you up on payment plans, whatever. And next thing you know, I'm off to the races. And I joined Sub 2 in January of 24. 2 weeks later, there was a Sub 2 meetup right here in my backyard in New Orleans. And so that was how I got started.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. Hey, your topic today is going to be building team culture and lending relationships. Um, I don't know if say you want to give us a little precursor, just take us right in there. which aspect you want to start with. Love to hear about it. And I know the people on the call love to hear about it too. So take it away.
Yeah, we can jump right into it. I would say honestly, both are really similar, right? Like you're trying to build relationships either way. JJ, you and I talk about this all the time. Like the best way to do it is to chase the relationship, not the deal. It's that way whether you have employees, whether you have business partners, whether you're looking for lenders on your deals. Like that's the one thing I've done really, really well since I joined Sub 2 is building relationships. So and that's how I've gotten the level of visibility that you've come to know me for, right?
Oh
Like I
yeah.
didn't have that. I didn't have that a year ago. I wasn't even in Sub 2 a year ago. So it's like I build relationships with people. I'm pretty good at working hand in hand with people, and I'm always trying to give some level of coaching. Like even when people reach out to me and it's a little bit of a vague connection request, or it's like, "Hey, hop on my calendar." I'll ask them like, "Hey, did you do your research? Like, you're asking me if I want to buy a sub two deal off of you, but did you know that I'm not even a buyer of single family homes?
Hmm.
You know?"
Do you find when
And
people are reaching out to you, we know we all get friend requests all the time. Do most of them come accompanied by a Facebook message to introduce oneself, or do most of them come in as an anonymous friend request?
oh no, they almost never come with a request, and it's usually vice versa too. Like I might get a message but no request, or I might get a request but no message. And I had that happen last week. Somebody sent me a message like, "Hey, are you interested in a sub two in Fort Myers?" I
Hmm.
said, "No, like, where did you get the idea from? I don't buy single family homes."
Yeah, right out of the blue.
And yeah, yeah. And I told her, I was like, "You might want to do a little bit more research." Well, it doesn't hurt to reach out, and you don't have to worry about this. I'll never reach out to you ever again. And it's like, hold on, hold on. Like, don't shoot me. I didn't, I'm just trying to help you out. And I even told her, I said, had you come to me with a little bit of context, like you saw me comment on a post about a sub two in that area, I was probably trying to help another friend out, right? And I said, had you led with that level of context, I would have given you these two email addresses I'm about to give you, which are both deal inboxes for people that would buy your deal. So it's, it's very similar. Like if I can't help you, I will tell you who can help you,
Yeah.
And similarly, like if I know JJ's buying sub twos in LA and I see a deal and I know what JJ's deal inbox email address is, guess what? I'm gonna drop it in the comment section. I'm not gonna ask JJ because I know that this deal already fits his criteria.
Yeah, what as you're building a team, I mean, we start by ourselves in the beginning, and I'm sure you wore all the hats. Have you built a team out now? I mean, do you have do you have a VA? Do you have an assistant? Do you have a local assistant, virtual assistant?
I've built out several teams over the years. I've built out sales teams and I've built out mostly partnerships. That's what I've been doing mostly in REI, more so than like getting assistants or VAs. I'm really good at finding people, and I might say, "Well, JJ, you have a knack for bringing in the money. I have a knack for bringing in the deals. Let's partner together. I can help. I'll vet the deals on the front end. I'll vet the borrower on the front end, and then I will pass the deal to you. As long as it looks good to you, why don't you blast that to your CRM?" So that's what we did. Like I built a capital raising team, which was three of us, and they've since decided to do their own thing. I still work with both of them on a JV basis, and I've built an integrator team. So anything that you need operationally, guess what? We can do. I'm not a systems guy. I'm not the guy that's going to build out your CRM, but I have people that I can utilize and I can leverage those relationships that we can build you a website, we can build you web forms, we can build you a CRM, we can build you just about anything under the sun. Because again, I've made the relationships with people that are software developers, web developers, and what I do well is I get on the call, I outline the scope, I create the proposal, and then I say, all right, hey, guys, this is what JJ wants. Like, this is what we're going to do to deliver on that. And I give JJ the timelines. I keep him posted. Him and I are communicating routinely. I'm asking him for more information, logins, whatever we need, and passing that along to my team.
Now, let me ask you, we got some new people on the call. We probably have some
Mhm.
new people watching on YouTube weeks and months down the line. What do you mean when you talk about building a culture? Building a team culture. We all kind of know what building a team is. We get a couple players. We need a quarterback. We need a left fielder. We need a center for the basketball. We need a couple players. What do you mean when you refer to building a culture?
I'm so glad you asked about culture, JJ, because everybody has a culture. And if you think you don't, you do, then you just have a bad one. So, what I mean by building a culture is that you should be utilizing and leveraging these relationships. You should be getting to know people. You need to know and understand how to work with different personalities. Like, you have to know what, in a way, kind of what makes people more inclined to do the things that you want them to do, and what makes people more inclined to not do the things that you want to do, right? I know that there's certain ways, like if I address JJ this way, he's going to come back to me abrasive, right? We all have those ways. We all have those little triggers, those little things that we don't like to be spoken to in this way. But also likewise, if JJ is having a really bad day, I need to know, hey, what can I do to help get JJ back on track, get him focused, get him back on the mission, so we can keep rowing the boat at the same speed, in the same direction, in cadence, right? Because you know what happens if you don't row the boat in the same direction at the same speed? You go in circles.
Yeah.
Yep. And you get nowhere.
I guess it's been somewhat trial and error in learning what works for you, learning what doesn't work for you. Have there been anybody that's been, I mean, I'm sure you've had a lot of influences. Pace Morby is obviously a huge influence for a lot of people. Have there been other people that have been influences for you in your direction to keep you on point?
Yeah, I would say Andy Frisella has probably been one of the biggest influences. I That was where I started at like 5 or 6 years ago. I I was just driving my truck around, delivering wood, listening to the MFCEO project back in the day. Now it's Real AF. MFCEO is coming back. I was in Sean Whalen's Lions Den group, which is a business coaching group. I learned a lot from there. I learned a lot from Ryan Stewman, who's good friends with Sean Whalen. Um, just kind of learning a little bit about a little bit, and also just reading books, guys. Like, books are a way undervalued resource. You know, The Five Dysfunctions of a Team is one I finished recently. That was super helpful for those of you that are looking to figure out how to build a productive team with a good culture. That's a good one. Buy Then Build is one that I'm on right now about business acquisitions. Like, there's so many good resources out there available, and a lot of these books, because they're written by people in similar spaces, they reference each other. So you might read like Buy Then Build, and he references something about EOS, which comes from traction and rocket fuel, where they reference the visionary integrator framework, and you might say, hey, I need to go pick up rocket fuel. So then you go pick up rocket fuel.
Yeah.
And then rocket fuel might reference EMIS, and you might be like, hey, I need to go read EMIS.
Yeah. I actually have a list of books on my website. Gosh, probably 50 books now. I mean, every time someone's mentioned in a book, I want to get them out there. You mentioned Buy It and Build It. What was the other book you just mentioned?
So The Five Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick
That's it.
Lencioni is probably, I finished that one recently along with The Gap and the Gain, and both of those have been huge. Um, but right now I'm on Buy Then Build, which is this book right here. It's Walker Diebel's book, and this is a good one.
Cool. Excellent.
So
Yeah, I just want to make sure
that,
anytime a book is recommended, I want to add that to my list so that people know what's out there.
yeah, I've got about 4 shelves full of just hard copies.
Yeah, I prefer a hard copy book or whatever a book to something that's digital. Um, talk about building our own team, but frequently we have to build relationships outside of our team. And part of your topic is lender relationships. Uh, what's the hardest part about that? Are there any challenges a new investor needs to look at, or anything that they should maybe focus on when they're looking to build relationships with lenders?
Yeah, there's a ton. So the most of the struggles with relationships in general, I would say, is intentionality. A lot of people don't approach it with any level of intentionality whatsoever. And this goes for the team as well as the lenders, but let's focus on the lenders. So, because I see this all the time as somebody that's been put out there as a connector and as a capital raiser, I will just get deals in my inbox. I will just get random connection requests. I will get, hey, you should jump on my calendar. Or, hey, what's your calendar? Can I jump on your calendar? Let's have a call. Let's do this. Let's do that. And there's no real direction or flow. Lenders are good about being straight to the point, but they are still people and you still need to nurse the relationship. You can't just go in there and just say, hey, I got a deal. I penciled out. This is what it looks like. Or, hey, here's my one-page pitch deck with no information on it. You want to kind of get to know them, get to know what they're looking for. Like for us, what we did was we had built out a form of like the most common criteria of what people are looking for in these deals, right? Everything from like, what's the address? What's the purchase price? What's the ARV? Where is it located? How many flips or how many deals have you done in this market before? Um, Links to comps, like things that any lender would ask you for. Because here's the thing, right? We try to get at least the baseline covered. Every lender is going to be different about what they're looking for. Some of them might ask you for what's your FICO score, and some of them might not. So you want to at least get the baseline covered because they're going to come with more questions, and you want to be prepared. You want to have all your ducks in a row. You want to be able to answer their questions quickly. You don't want to waste their time, and you don't want to make them do too much additional work.
You know,
If you're just going to throw them a deal and they got to underwrite the whole deal, they're probably just going to tell you no. Like if you didn't do any underwriting or any explanation or give them any info, they're just going to tell you no.
so on that note, I mean, obviously you've done a number of deals, you're doing more deals, you got deals in the pipeline. By having that awareness and that knowledge of being prepared up front, have you created any kind of a preliminary template that you could make sure your information is put together so that in advance of contacting a lender or should a lender contact you, you kind of already have a good amount of that information assembled?
Yeah. So what we did was we created a pitch deck template, and anybody that comes to me as a borrower, I give them the template, and it's a Google slide, and I tell them to make a copy and obviously to change everything out that's in the template for their own information. So that means where there's a picture of the borrower, you put a picture of yourself. Where the borrower's name goes, you put your name. The about the borrower section, fill that out. Put the picture of the comp property, put the picture of the subject property. What's the address? What's the return? What's the hold time? Like the things that, like you said, JJ, that everybody's looking for. You want it to be laid out. You don't need the super fancy colors. You don't need the transitions. You don't need the crazy fonts. It is supposed to look like a very, very simple PowerPoint with bullet points that have a very clear flow to it that they can do the quick numbers in their head. They can look at it and they can say, well, JJ wants 12% for 12 months. This is what it comes out to per month, interest only payments, balloon in this many years. I'll get paid back this much on my money if I lend him 70K.
Awesome.
You got
Now,
got to make it super easy.
so with your business right now, are you using a VA at all, or is this all you? Do you have any kind of assistant?
No, it's all me right now. And like I said, whatever partnerships or lender relationships I have with other people.
Yeah, I know because this can present a lot for our plate. I know that myself. I've been, doing this for a number of years as an investor, property owner, and of course now, keeping my networking going, which for me is the backbone of my business, is the building of relationships and marketing myself. As you've been more and more visible on social media, and I've seen you growing and expanding, and your name is constantly going out there. Do you see a different reaction from the community as you progressed with that?
Yeah, I think you see a little bit of a different reaction from people as your name starts to get out there. Like that, some people do feel entitled to your time and your attention and your bandwidth, and so they will just throw stuff out there. We mentioned either at the very beginning of the recording or just before the recording that somebody threw me a deal, and I had asked her, I said, "Did you do any research? Because I'm not a buyer of single family homes. Like right now, I'm actually looking to acquire in commercial. I'm not trying to take like little chunks out of my cash flow goals. I'm trying to look at things that are like multifamilies, probably 100 units or less, or right now RV parks, because
Good for you.
that's a good market in our area. Insurance is low. It's not permanent, right? If they're RV parks, they're short stays, so they can, if a hurricane comes or something, we just knock on their door, tell them to leave, come back when it's done. So that acquisition model fits us, right? So that's what I'm talking about right now. I'm not, but I've never once said I was a buyer for, single families in Florida or single families in Oregon or whatever your deal is. So it's a lot of it does come down to doing the research and being intentional with who you're connecting with. And maybe if you think there's something there, provide a little bit of context. Maybe say, "Hey, JJ, I saw you made a comment on a post in this group about a sub-2 deal in North Carolina. I have a sub-2 deal in North Carolina. Would you be interested or would you know anybody that's interested?" And that's the caveat. If I just message JJ and I say, "Hey, I got a sub-2 in North Carolina," JJ's gonna be like, "Cool. I didn't ask."
Yeah. And you mentioned North Carolina, you mentioned Oregon, of course, you're in Louisiana. Um, are you doing all your business locally or are you out of state at all to some extent? And if you are, how do you work that? How do you grow that base and how do you manage that? Are you out of state? Let me ask you that.
I help borrowers nationwide, but what I do with my own personal acquisitions at this current moment in time is in our backyard. So,
Okay.
like, if JJ came to me with a deal and it's in California, and I have a lender that can lend in California, I'll help him out if I can. But if JJ's like, "Hey, I got an RV park, but it's in Oregon," I might tell him like, "Hey, bro, I'm gonna pass on this for now because it's a little bit out of my knowledge base." We're really looking at like probably about a 2 hour radius of New Orleans, which is anywhere from about Lafayette, Louisiana, for those of you that know, to about Gulfport, Mississippi. There's one other point I'll make too. We were talking about intentionality a little while ago, and intentionality with lenders is a little bit different than intentionality with your team. And the difference is, I would say the intentionality with your team comes down to you have to lead by example. Vince Lombardi says that leading by example is not a way to lead, it's the only way to lead. So, and what does that mean? It means that you're making and keeping the promises to yourself. I learned that when I went through 75 hard. It's like you're gonna have you're instead of trying to fit everybody else's requests into your day is your day, and then you finish and you keep those promises. And then after that, you can do whatever you want. You can cut loose. You can go, "Yeah, I can get on the phone with JJ for 2 hours." But if I tell JJ, I'm like, "Look, bro, I gotta go catch this outdoor workout. It's raining. It's gonna suck. You gotta wait 45 minutes." Like, you best believe he's gonna wait. But, right, that some people aren't gonna like that, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But I know at the end of the day that JJ knows that that's me keeping that promise to myself. And if I'm telling him that he's got to wait, he's got to wait for a good reason.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've got a very flexible, I'd just say landscape. Things change moment to moment. Things pop up, real estate attorneys, summonses, foreclosure, variety of things pop up that we have to attend to and causes us to change our schedule. I think the key is, staying in touch with people and letting them know when those changes happen as opposed to just not keeping people informed. I think we spoke about
Yeah.
that earlier as well.
Yeah, we do. Like, if somebody books on my calendar, it is very, very rare that I ever cancel or move an appointment because I try to do the due diligence beforehand to make sure that the spots that are available are truly available. So if JJ gets that 1 o'clock spot, guess what? Nobody else gets that spot. And very rarely do I ever get double booked. Now, when I do, it's super rare, and I'll text him long before, but I'm not going to cancel on him. I'm going to say, "Hey, bro, something came up. This thing happened, because life does happen, right? Maybe my truck broke down. Maybe I got to be on the phone with AAA for however long. But ultimately, I'm doing the work to make sure that I can show up because that's not just a promise I made to JJ at this point. That's a promise I made to myself that I was going to show up.
Yeah, and the big part we have to be consistent to be credible. That we can't have
Hmm.
too much variety and flexibility in our in inconsistencies. Um,
Well, and that commitment to discipline is how I got into having a podcast.
yeah,
Something that was supposed to be like a Zoom mini series on networking, turned into a different guest every single week. And even when I didn't want to do it, even when I didn't want to show up, guess what? I made the commitment and I booked. And what I'll do sometimes is I'll remind myself, like, okay, if I didn't show up, how poorly would that reflect on me? Right? Like, how disappointed would JJ be if I didn't show up today? Maybe he wouldn't be. I don't know. Maybe he would have been totally fine with it. I'm sure if I told him I was in a car accident and it was something serious, he'd probably be like, all right, bro, no, no, I get it. Like, let's reschedule for another day. If I told him I'm in the ER with dysentery or something, I don't know, whatever, right?
Yeah,
Like, that's acceptable.
we've actually been pretty fortunate as far as cancellations or things of that nature. Some people have been out of range. They thought they'd taken the call on the road and they don't have an internet signal, and stuff like that happens. But ideally, we'll come back around and try and reschedule people again. And and as real estate investors, guys, we have to be a little bit understanding when we're dealing with other people because. Sometimes there's a family emergency, there's a car accident, someone's child or parent is dealing with ill health, and so we have to be understanding. We have to be flexible, and because this is what we do as a people business. So, Adam, you got this podcast. How many episodes have you done so far?
27.
That's cool.
We did 27. Tomorrow will be 28.
That's great. And you're putting this on your YouTube channel?
Yeah, I put this on my own personal YouTube channel. Like I said, it started out as like we were noticing the kind of the need to teach people how the intentionality behind networking, kind of like you and I discussed a few minutes ago. And so my friend Emma and I said, "Hey, let's at least do one Zoom." And we had set a time block for like 2 hours, thinking we would go for an hour, we'd answer questions, and we ended up filling almost that whole time.
Good
And
for
I'd
you.
asked Emma, I said, "Would you like to be my co-host?" And she's like, "I don't think I could show up every weekend, but I would love to show up as frequently as I can, maybe rotate in and out." Well, that turned into one guest and then a second guest and then a third guest. And kind of like you said, like once you meet one person, and people start to find out you have a podcast, especially when you get to about 20 episodes. That's all you need to be in the top 1 or 2%. Everybody else quits before that.
Yeah, it's amazing. I don't know how I've continued as long as I have, but it's for me it's fun because I enjoy just talking to people and as I say, building relationships. Um,
Yeah,
how do
and
you
mine's laid out pretty similar to this. Like we get on Zoom, we do a spotlight. It's me and a guest, and we open it up to questions, and we allow people to come in. And we just a lot of it is REI, a lot of it is business, but a lot of it is the intangibles and things that you need in order to be successful in REI. Things like servant leadership, like extreme ownership, like intentional networking, and how to best utilize those practices.
Yeah, sounds great, brother. There's just so many different ways to skin a cat, and we just have to, be open to every opportunity. And I think the big opportunity is one you've already capitalized on is social media, branding, videos, interviews, having a YouTube channel. You've done really well with that, and as I said, as a result, everybody knows your name. I've been following you now for quite a while since you've been doing your podcast, and I commend you. And I'll even say, promote everything you're doing to my group. Let all
Yeah.
my groups support your podcast. Register, subscribe to your YouTube channel, and continue to grow the foundation of your network.
Yeah, well, and you said something about branding in there too, and I think that's a big mindset shift for a lot of people. Is Hormozy says that everything is branding and branding is everything, and those two really are interchangeable, right? Like everything down to how you shake people's hands in person, how do you work the room? Are you nervous when you're talking to people? Are you pacing at the back of the room? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? Are you looking up? Are you looking down? Do you make people feel heard and seen? Like all of that is your personal brand. Just like people want to focus on their logo. Like your logo doesn't mean shit, bro.
Yeah,
Nobody cares. Nobody cares if your website is the fanciest and it has the prettiest transitions and pictures and whatever. People care about how you make them feel.
exactly, exactly. Um, so what's in the future for you? I mean, you're looking at commercial now and multifamily, and you know, sort of phasing away from single family.
Yeah, so I'm actually phasing away from raising capital for most other people's deals and kind of just dialing in on the couple of things that we have going on. I raised capital for a fund of funds that focuses on RV parks. That gave me the chance to kind of see behind the curtain, so to speak. I said, man, I really like this model a lot. It's similar to a multifamily with higher NOIs because they have lower CapEx and lower expenses. So now we're looking at acquiring RV parks. I still do some raising here and there for other people. Like I said, right now we're doing like two hotel refinances, and I'm still raising for that fund. But other than that, we're just working on our own deals. And I actually just walked my first RV park last month. I mean, last week. We were going to get it under contract, and it
Cool.
didn't quite pan out. Let's just say it didn't look like the pictures.
And that's okay. Sometimes the best deal is one we walk on. Not everything's going to be a win. And if we can evaluate something and see it's not for us, then we still win with that. We still win with the experience of seeing that wasn't exactly what we're looking for. So I commend you on that.
Oh, definitely. And that's one of the biggest lessons is look, guys, if you have something that's appraised really high, they list it below appraisal price, and then you give them a lower price than that, and they're willing to jump on it, that means you probably gave them the highest offer they got so far. And that was what happened in our case. Everything that we saw online looked good. And then when they asked us, like, do you want to get this under contract? We have another serious buyer. Our first thought, we didn't tell the seller this. We were like, did the other buyer see the park? Right? Because everything we've seen tells me it's not even a deal, even though we offered you, say, like 30% less than what you were listing it for.
Yeah,
So it's just knowing those things, it's being able to walk it, it's understanding, that there's always something underneath the surface. And, to your point, JJ, like this was our first RV park, me and my two friends. So what I did was I brought in somebody who's been in commercial for 30 years, and she helped us underwrite it, and she helped us look at what do we need to make the numbers make sense? Where do we need to be at price wise? Like,
yeah,
will the population support expansion? Possibly, but it's a small town, so it might not. It's bringing in and leveraging those partnerships with people that have way more experience than you do, so that way you can learn without falling into the potholes, so to speak.
yeah, exactly. The key to our success is uh, building relationships and surrounding ourselves with people that will help us, and ideally not having to reinvent the wheel or make the same mistakes others have. If we can seek out the other people that have value, that are successful, that have paid their dues, and see who we resonate with to build relationships, and that shortens our learning curve and escalates our time period to success. So it sounds like you're doing all the right things, brother. You have yourself tuned in. You got the right mindset, and no wonder you've been so successful so quickly and have grown in your visibility, and you're highly respected by the community. That's cool.
I will say too, for those that are listening, to cut down the ignorance tax, you just have to be willing to ask the questions. And like I said before, you have to be willing to ask the questions even if you're scared, right? I might go out there, like when I did my first deal, I was going around telling everybody that it was a first lien position. And I finally got a lender that looked at it, and she was like, "Is it a sub two?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Then it's not a first lien." And I was like, "Oh, shit." Like I messed this up. But I was willing to go out there with egg on my face, right? And just ask people when they were like, no, this isn't a good deal for me. It's like, well, what would make it a good deal for you? Is there something I can do? I can work with the borrower to get them to change. Is there something I can show you that would verify this is a good deal for you? What are your doubts? What are your questions? It's just going out there and getting the reps in because that's how you cut down the ignorance tax is getting the reps in, asking the questions,
Yeah,
and just getting to know people and what their preferences are.
there you go. Hey, brother, you've been outstanding, man. I really want to thank you for coming on today. You've brought some great value and shared your story, who you are, and what you're doing. I know we could continue for hours, but we'll give people an avenue to connect with you in the future if they want to. I've got two last questions for you. One, if people either on the call now or weeks and months down the line watching on YouTube want to connect with you, what's the best way to reach out to you? Is it your MySpace page or your, TikTok or, you know, something, probably your Instagram, your Facebook?
Yeah, it's usually my Facebook, my Instagram. That is one of the commitments I keep to myself is that I make sure that all of my messages get answered. That's one thing, like before I go to bed at night, if somebody sends me a text, if they send me a Facebook message, if they send me an Instagram message, everybody gets a response. And if I can help you, I will. And if I can't personally help you, I will put you on with somebody that can help you.
But again, guys, if you're watching now, if you're on the call right now, if you're watching on YouTube, please send Adam a message. Please follow him on Instagram. If you guys are not yet connected to him on Facebook, feel free to reach out there. Please feel free to reach out to Adam at your convenience and on his Facebook and his Instagram and connect with him and build your network and build your relationships with a rock star in investment. Adam, my last question for you is, I talk about networking all the time, and of course, that topic is woven into our conversation today. But there's so many education groups out there. Pace Warby Sub 2, it's Gator. There's 40, 50, 100 other education groups out there. Each of them have brand new investors coming every single day. Some brand new to real estate and some very experienced to real estate, but they're brand new to social media. Joining these Facebook communities because every membership education platform says join our Facebook community for our student body. And not everybody's really using social media to make themselves visible. In from your perspective as a successful real estate investor, what is the importance of using social media for the new or the experienced investor to grow their business?
I mean, social is huge, guys. Social is the very first thing that we check, right? If you come to me as a borrower, I'm going to check your social. I'm going to see who you are, who I can find out, what I can find out about you. Just the same thing, like if I go on a date with somebody, I'm going to try to find out who they are, what they're about, what their values are, how many deals they've done, what their experience is. Social is the best way to really kind of showcase that and put it on display for everybody. And the thing about social is that it compounds. Like when JJ pulled up my Facebook profile, you all saw my small business logo is my cover photo. And if you notice in the logo, it says established 2019. Well, we got the logo made in 2019. And I remember somebody telling me, they were like, yeah, but you don't want to come across as new, like you don't know what you're doing. Guess what, guys? When you're young, whether you're young in business or you're young in social media, that's the beauty is you don't know what you're doing and nobody cares because you don't have an audience yet. It's the same thing. Like people will ask me all the time, well, what if you make a mistake on your podcast? What if this happens? Like it goes on YouTube for the world to see. And it's like, bro, some of our videos get super, super low views. And like that's the fun. The fun of it is that you can do whatever you want. You can curse a little bit too much. You can mess up. You can trip over your own words because you're getting better.
Yeah,
So it's that compound effect. It builds over time, and you're not going to be good at it tomorrow. The first couple of times I did videos on social media, I was shaking. I was scared. I didn't enjoy it. Even now, like when Pace brings me up on a family night or something on one of his Zooms in front of 15 to 1900 people, you bet I'm scared. It's just like standing on a stage. It's the same exact thing. But now I run my own Zooms every week, every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. Central. People can come. It's on my Facebook and Instagram timeline. The Zoom link is there. Y'all can come join us. And I mean, I host anywhere from 3 to 30 some odd people every week,
there you go.
but it builds.
Yeah, it's just a compound effect. Hey, Adam, I really want to thank you for being on the call today. Hey, if you guys are watching on YouTube right now, please like Adam's video. Please put in your comment section what your takeaways were, what you found beneficial, informative, and please let us know how you think I might be able to improve what I'm doing. Maybe bring you guests you haven't seen yet, or you know, however I can improve our call for what we're doing. Um, Adam, again, I want to thank you so much. If you guys want to connect with me, go to my website, jjzizian.com. I can see right now, I didn't even put up my little banner there, but here it is, guys. You can click the QR code right here. It takes you to my group. Here's my Instagram link right here. The name of my website, jjseason.com. So please reach out to me, connect with us, join my group, and look for more coming up on YouTube from Flip Side Up with JJ. We're gonna have more great speakers, maybe not as good looking as Adam Dupuis, but continue to bring you guys great content every single week. If you guys are in the car right now, don't go away. We're gonna do a couple more Q&A with Adam and do a little bit of networking. Everybody else, Adam, we'll see them in the future on virtual networking, right? Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, we will.
Thanks, guys. See you soon.